All right, we might have one more trailer to show you guys and one more performer who goes by the name of Julian Modugno. Let's you and I go through Julian's bio together. 13-year-old Julian Modugno began watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the same reason many of us did. A confusing sexual attraction to Seth Green. In high school, while his friends were going on dates and attending prayer rallies at nearby megachurches, Julian spent his nights locked up in his room, writing 3 novels that heavily plagiarized Buffy the Vampire Slayer, except he was the Slayer, because that's what the world needs, more male heroes. Everything he has written since has been a desperate attempt to recapture that magic and finally win Seth Green's heart. So Seth Green, if you're in the audience tonight, consider giving Julian a smooch at the very least. And please applaud both Julian and the trailer for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That's funny, Jason actually asked me to drink him after the show. The answer is yes, Jason. Into every generation, one boy is born. One boy in all the world who will stand against the demons and monsters and even the occasional unhinged cyborg built by high school students. He is the chosen one. The words echoed in Julian's mind as he sat in his idling 1998 Kia Spectra, watching the Ride With Me app, the rideshare service famously invented by rapper Nelly as he transitioned into a second career. Julian used to be someone important, on a cosmic scale even, but that was back in high school. All those years of being told he was special, that he mattered to the universe, and now he was just some anonymous guy who drove people around so they could go on adventures. "Sorry I'm late," said a voice suddenly from the back seat of his car. Julian jumped. "Can you go straight down this road? Thanks." The woman was no nonsense, exhibiting the usual distracted disinterest of most of his customers. "Do you like doing this? Driving people around in a 1998 Kia Spectra?" "Oh yeah, it's great," Julian lied. "I'm a real people person," so he trailed off. "It seems a bit beneath you," the passenger said, almost reading Julian's mind. In fact, he felt a pinpoint of dull pressure in his frontal lobe, like there was something wedged in there. He focused his energy and forced the presence out. "I'm surprised you found me, Leah," Julian said as the passenger took down the hood of her parka. "Well, I'm surprised you're alive," the passenger said, "what with you flinging yourself into a big old portal of mystical energy at graduation." "If it makes you feel any better, I didn't die," Julian explained. "Not technically. Rather, I was sucked into a hell dimension where I was subjected to all manner of torture for 6 years before finally escaping." "That actually doesn't make me feel better," Leah said. "You know, you're a hard man to track down. Heard some rumors floating around the witch circuits that you were back. Had to follow him up. See if we had a shot." "What?" asked Julian as he stopped the car at a traffic light. "Remember," Leah asked, "that gripping climactic kiss we shared before you threw yourself into that portal to save the world? Our star-crossed love? Haven't you ever wondered, what if?" "Oh, that was a long time ago," Julian said, pulling through the intersection. I'm actually gay now." "Oh," Leah said, slumping back into the seat. "Is that something you figured out in hell?" "No, I figured it out right there at that kiss. We locked lips, and I was like, nope, I'm gay, and then I flung myself into that portal to hell." "Well, I'm glad you're not dead or in hell anymore. I drove college students around in a 98 Kia Spectra for sub-minimum wage pay. Hell was better." "Well," Leah said, "that's good, because I've got a job for you." "Well, that's a bummer," said Julian. "See, I'm retired. I'm a driver now. This is my life." "Nice try, but cosmic responsibility isn't something you retire from. Take a left here." "Where are we going?" Julian asked, turning down the road. "If I'm following the magic power lines correctly, we're going to the site of a new dimensional rift. Remember, like the one that kept crapping out demons in the basement of our high school? Well, there's another one ready to pop off, and somewhere even worse than a suburban high school, left here." Julian turned the car, his mind turning over what sort of location could be home to such unspeakable horror. "Oh no," he said as he saw the sign looming above him. "Not underground Atlanta." "Bingo," said Leah as she hopped out of the car. "Let's go." "This isn't right," Julian said as he followed his witch friend. "The prophecy said if I sacrificed myself, Earth would be safe from monsters forever. Now I find out that I spent 6 years in hell for nothing?" Now you know how the rest of us felt watching Lost, Leah said. As she hopped down the steps to the gates of underground, she pulled a key from a small pouch on her waist and gripped it so tightly her hand began to bleed. With her other hand, she gripped the padlock on the gate, and it effortlessly snapped open. You know, I probably could have just kicked that lock off with my super strength, Julian said as they went inside the mall. I can handle myself, thank you very much, Leah smirked as the shadowy beast leapt out from a dark corner and tackled her to the ground. It bared its fangs, gnashing wildly at her neck as she desperately fumbled to get something from her pouch. Yeah, well, you're not doing such a great job of handling yourself right now, Julian said as he leapt into the fray, grabbing the vampire and throwing it into a photo backdrop of the Atlanta Falcons. You wouldn't happen to have a stake in that pouch of yours? No, but I do have this, Leah said, pulling out a feather. I don't know if tickling kills vampires, but I'm willing to try anything once, Julian shot back as the vampire rose. Leah grasped the feather firmly, floating a set of Ginsu knives from the As Seen on TV store and flinging them over to Julian. Oh, I see, Julian said. He grasped the knives and with 2 quick chops severed the vampire's head from its body. Knives to meet you, he said. As the vampire's body burst into flames and disintegrated. Admit it, Leah said. That was fun. Yes, I've really missed inhaling quarts of vampire ash, Julian coughed, although part of him felt more alive than he'd been in years. Soon the 2 friends found themselves traipsing around through the MARTA tunnels beneath underground. So, what was hell like? Leah asked. It was great, Julian said. What kind of question is that? It was horrible. Do you have any idea the kinds of torture I was subjected to? How many times I was forced to listen to Ashley Simpson's entire body of work? 4 times. 4 grueling times. Well, if we don't stop this rift from opening, whatever comes out is going to be worse than a dozen Ashley Simpsons. Monster after monster, each of them a surprisingly profound metaphor for what's going on in our lives, just like in high school. Like that beast that whispered paranoid fantasies in our minds, or that demon that kept throwing up because it thought it was too fat. She stopped and pressed her hand against the utility door. This is it, through here. You can do the honors, Mr. Strong Kick. Your puns have suffered without me, Julian said. Seriously, watch an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer every once in a while. He pondered the door. It was all that stood between him and the resurrection of a life he had thought was long over. If he opened it, there was no going back. Fuck it, he said, and with one swift kick, he bust down the door. A bright light flashed as pieces of confetti rained down on Julian. Surprise! Yelled a chorus of voices as his eyes adjusted to the bright light. Before him stood an array of familiar faces. The whole old gang was there. Avery, Lyndon, Professor Mystery, even Steve, Julian's mystical energy brother that nobody liked. What? Said Julian. What is all this? It's a surprise party, Leah said with a grin, for you. We're all so happy to hear you were back, Steve said. Shut up, said everyone. So there's no gate to hell, Julian asked, tears welling in his eyes. No more monsters to fight. Nope, said Leah, it was all just a trick to get you back here with your friends. What about that vampire upstairs, Julian said, his heart breaking. What was that? Professor Mystery winked. I'll never tell. He laughed as he disappeared into a cloud of smoke and then reappeared into another nearby cloud of smoke. This isn't high school, Leah said. It's time you figured out how to feel alive again, even if that means never fighting another monster. Suddenly, a large glyph began to glow on the floor as the concrete beneath them cracked open and a demonic aberration began to crawl out. Or, through sheer cosmic coincidence, the site of your surprise party might turn out to be actually on top of a portal to a demon dimension, just as it opened, said Leah. Well, I guess it's time to get to work, Mr. Chosen One. Julian grinned and tackled the demon, punching it over and over and over again in the face as various specters and spirits flew out from the ground and up into the streets of Atlanta above. He laughed with abundant joy as he grabbed the beast by the tail and began swinging it around like the end of Super Mario 64. It had been several years since he had come back from the dead, but now, fighting monsters alongside his best friends, he finally felt like he was alive again.